Captain Vesta Hayashi stood at the observation deck of the RSV Starweaver, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling purple and blue gases of the Carina Nebula. After 15 years of deep space research, she thought she'd seen everything the cosmos could throw at her. She was wrong. "Captain," called Lieutenant Raj Patel from his station, his voice tight with concern. "We're picking up those energy signatures again. Same pattern as before." Vesta turned from the window, her silver-streaked hair catching the starlight. Location: Grid Sector 9 Alpha, about 12 light minutes from our position. Raj's fingers danced across his holographic display. "It's different this time. Stronger." The Starweaver had been tracking these anomalies for the past 3 weeks. What started as subtle disturbances in the quantum field had evolved into something that made every scientific instrument on board scream in protest. "Dr. Zhong," Vesta called to her chief scientist. "Your analysis?" Dr. Ming Zhong looked up from her terminal, her augmented eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. "It defies every known law of physics, Captain. The energy signature suggests something massive, yet our gravitational sensors show nothing. It's as if something is eating holes in space itself." Vesta had learned to trust Ming's instincts. The scientist had earned her reputation by predicting the collapse of the Proxima Centauri wormhole network 3 years ago, saving countless lives. "Show me the pattern analysis," Vesta ordered. A holographic display materialized in the center of the bridge, showing a complex web of energy signatures spanning several light years. Each point represented a disappearance: cargo ships, research vessels, even a small mining colony. All gone without a trace. "There's a logic to it," said Commander Octavio Reyes, the ship's tactical officer. His cybernetic hand traced patterns in the air. "Look at the progression. Whatever this thing is, it's not random. It's hunting." Vesta felt a chill run down her spine. She'd seen predators before: space pirates, hostile aliens, even sentient cosmic storms. But this was different. This was calculated, patient, and absolutely lethal. "New contact." Raj's voice cut through her thoughts. "Mining vessel Helios just dropped out of FTL in Sector 7 Beta. They're not responding to hails." The bridge crew watched as the Helios drifted silently through space. Its running lights were on, life support appeared functional, but something was wrong. Terribly wrong. "Scanning," Ming reported, her augmented eyes processing data streams. "No life signs. No structural damage. No radiation. It's just empty." "Like the others," Octavio muttered. Vesta made a decision. "Prepare a boarding team. I want answers." Hours later, Vesta stood in the Helios's empty bridge, surrounded by abandoned stations. Coffee cups still steamed on desks. Tablets displayed half-finished log entries. It was as if the crew had simply vanished mid-shift. "Captain," Ming's voice crackled through the comm, "you need to see this." In the ship's quantum communications array, Ming had found something. Ancient warning signals, buried deep in subspace. They were fragments, pieces of messages left behind by civilizations long gone. "I've decoded some of it," Ming said, her augmented eyes rapidly processing the data. "They're warnings. About something that hunts advanced civilizations. Something that tests them." "Tests them for what?" Vesta asked. "Worthiness." Ming's voice was barely a whisper. "The right to exist." Before Vesta could respond, the Starweaver's emergency alert blared through their comms. Raj's voice was filled with panic. "Captain, return immediately. Something's approaching, fast." The trip back to the Starweaver felt like an eternity. As they approached their ship, Vesta saw it, or rather, saw the absence of it. A void in space, moving with impossible grace, consuming light itself. "All hands, battle stations." Vesta ordered as she reached the bridge. "Raj, get us out of here. FTL drive's not responding." Raj's hands flew over his controls. "Whatever it is, it's affecting our systems." The void grew larger, approaching with deliberate slowness. On the screens, strange symbols began to appear. Ancient glyphs that pulsed with otherworldly energy. "Ming, what are they saying?" Vesta demanded. Ming's augmented eyes widened. They're not just symbols, Captain. They're a test. A judgment. The void stopped, hovering just kilometers from the Starweaver. In that moment, Vesta understood. This wasn't just a hunter. It was an arbiter, ancient beyond comprehension, judging civilizations by criteria they couldn't understand. It's scanning us, Ming reported. Every database, every system, every thought pattern. It's learning. Vesta stood from her chair. Let it learn. Let it see who we are. We have nothing to hide. The void pulsed, and new symbols appeared. Ming translated. The test begins. In the next instant, reality itself seemed to bend. The void expanded, surrounding the Starweaver in absolute darkness. The last thing Vesta saw before consciousness faded was a single glyph, burning like fire in the void. Worthy? When they awoke, they were somewhere else. Somewhere impossible. The Starweaver floated in a space between spaces, surrounded by the wreckage of countless civilizations. And in the distance, something waited, something that would determine not just their fate, but the fate of humanity itself. Ming, Vesta said quietly, send everything we have to Earth. They need to know what's coming. As the quantum transmission burst from the Starweaver's arrays, the void began to move again. The real test was about to begin, and Vesta Hayashi, along with her crew, would face a judgment billions of years in the making. The hunter had found its prey. The question was, would humanity prove worthy of survival? To be continued. Director Nikolai Volkov stood before the quantum display wall at the Deep Space Research Institute, his weathered face illuminated by streams of data from the Starweaver's final transmission. Dark circles under his eyes betrayed 3 sleepless nights spent analyzing Captain Hayashi's encounter with the void entity. Play it again, he commanded, his Russian accent thickened by exhaustion. The holographic display flickered, showing the moment the Starweaver encountered the cosmic horror. Each time he watched, new details emerged, patterns in the void's movement, peculiarities in its energy signature. Director, his AI assistant chimed. Dr. Jun Wei has arrived. Nikolai straightened his back. Send him in. Dr. Jun Wei entered like a ghost, silent and graceful despite his advanced age. The xenoarchaeologist's reputation preceded him, the man who had decoded the Proxima ruins, who had predicted the return of ancient cosmic forces. His traditional Chinese clothing contrasted sharply with the Institute's sterile modernism. You've seen it too, haven't you? Jun asked without preamble, his eyes fixed on the holographic display. The patterns in its behavior. They matched the petroglyphs in the Sirius tablets. Nikolai nodded slowly. The same entity that judged the Proxima civilization 12,000 years ago. But this time it's different. More urgent. Jun approached the display, his fingers tracing the glyphs in the air. Because humanity has reached a critical point. We've spread across 300 systems. Our quantum technology is advancing exponentially. We've become noticeable. The Starweaver's data shows it's not alone, Nikolai said, pulling up additional scans. There are more of them. Hundreds, perhaps thousands, awakening throughout the galaxy. They're preparing for a harvest. Jun's voice was grim. Just like they did with the Proxima civilization, the Sirius Empire, and countless others before them. They cull species they deem unworthy. A new alert flashed across the display. Another ship had vanished, this time closer to Earth. The void entities were growing bolder. We have a chance, Jun said suddenly, pulling an ancient tablet from his bag. The artifact glowed with faint quantum signatures, its surface covered in intricate symbols. The Proxima civilization left us more than warnings. They left us a weapon. Nikolai leaned forward, studying the tablet. What kind of weapon? Not a conventional one. The Proxima understood something fundamental about reality, about consciousness itself. They built a network of quantum beacons designed to reshape space-time at a fundamental level, to fight the void entities on their own plane of existence. Where are these beacons? Jun smiled thinly. Hidden in plain sight. Every mysterious quantum anomaly we've discovered in the past century, the Carina pulsar, the Vega nexus, the Orion quantum fountain, they're all part of the network. We just need to wake them up. Before Nikolai could respond, the Institute's emergency protocols activated. Red light flooded the room as Admiral Zhou's hologram materialized. Director Volkov, Zhou's voice was tense. We're detecting multiple void signatures approaching the Sol system. Current count is 17 and rising. Earth Defense Force is mobilizing, but conventional weapons will be useless, Nikolai finished. He turned to June. How long to activate the beacon network? Hours, maybe days. We need to decode the activation sequence, and we need massive amounts of quantum energy to power it. We don't have days, Admiral Zhou interrupted. The void entities will reach Earth in less than 6 hours. Nikolai made a decision. Admiral. The next 4 hours were a blur of desperate activity. June worked tirelessly on the activation sequence while Nikolai coordinated with Earth's defense forces. Reports came in of void entities consuming outpost after outpost, leaving nothing but empty ships and silent colonies in their wake. In hour 5, as the first void entity entered the solar system, June made a breakthrough. The sequence, he gasped, his hands shaking. It's not just a code, it's a key. The Proxima civilization found a way to transform consciousness into quantum energy. To fight the void entities, we have to transcend our physical form. Nikolai stared at him. You're talking about uploading human consciousness into the quantum network. Not uploading, evolving. The beacons won't just fight the void entities, they'll transform humanity itself. We'll become something new, something that can exist on their level. On the displays, the void entities had reached Mars. Earth's defense fleet engaged them uselessly, their weapons passing through the cosmic horrors like light through glass. The choice is evolution or extinction, June said quietly. Nikolai looked at the activation sequence, then at the approaching void entities. Humanity stood on the brink of either transcendence or annihilation. There would be no middle ground. Do it, he ordered. June's fingers flew across the quantum interface, inputting the final sequence. The ancient tablet pulsed with impossible energy as power from Earth's quantum grid flowed into the beacon network. Across the galaxy, the quantum beacons awakened. The Carina pulsar flared with new light. The Vega nexus spiraled with energy. The Orion quantum fountain erupted with power unseen since the dawn of time. And on Earth, something remarkable happened. As the void entities descended upon the planet, humanity began to change. Consciousness expanded. Physical forms dissolved into pure quantum energy. The barrier between mind and reality blurred, then vanished entirely. Nikolai felt it happening to himself, the transformation from flesh to energy, from matter to pure thought. In his last moments of physical existence, he saw the void entities react with something akin to surprise. They had come to judge humanity's worthiness to exist. Instead, they found humanity transcending existence itself. The void entities retreated, their judgment rendered irrelevant by humanity's evolutionary leap. The ancient defense system had worked, but not in the way anyone had expected. It hadn't defeated the cosmic horrors, it had elevated humanity beyond their reach. In the quantum realm that had once been Earth's solar system, the newly evolved human consciousness began to explore its capabilities. Physical laws became suggestions. Time became fluid. Space became malleable. And somewhere in this new quantum existence, the essence of what had once been Nikolai Volkov and June Wei reached out across the galaxy, searching for others to guide through the transformation. For in becoming something new, humanity had not just saved itself, it had discovered a path forward for all conscious life in the universe. The void entities still roamed the galaxy, testing and judging younger civilizations. But now they were no longer alone in their cosmic role. Humanity, in its new form, had become shepherds of consciousness, guardians of evolution, helping other species find their own paths to transcendence. The test was over. The real journey had begun. And 1,000 years after humanity's quantum transformation, consciousness that was once Zara Patel observed the crystalline structures of the Andromeda galaxy. As a quantum being, she no longer needed physical form, yet she chose to manifest as a pattern of light, a habit from her days as one of the first post-transformation guides. The memories of her previous life, when she was Director Volkov's quantum physics protégé, felt like ancient history now. She had witnessed humanity's evolution from frightened prey to cosmic shepherds, guiding countless species through their own transcendence. Another civilization has reached the threshold, communicated Helix, a consciousness that had once been a Centaurian before their species' transformation. In their quantum state, communication was instantaneous, unrestricted by space and time. Zara shifted her attention to the spiral arm sector. A young species, the Meridians, had developed quantum technology. Like humanity before them, they had drawn the attention of the void entities. They're different from us, Helix observed. Their consciousness is collective, linked through biological quantum entanglement. Perfect candidates for transformation, Zara replied. But they must choose it themselves. They watched as 3 void entities approached the Meridian homeworld. The pattern was familiar. First observation, then testing, finally judgment. But this time, something was different. The void entities paused, sensing the presence of the transformed beings. In the 1,000 years since humanity's evolution, an unspoken agreement had emerged. The void entities continued their role as cosmic arbiters, but the transformed species now offered an alternative to extinction. A pulse of communication rippled through quantum space. The Meridians had detected both the void entities and the transformed beings. Their collective consciousness reached out, seeking understanding. Zara manifested in their quantum communication network, appearing as they would comprehend her, a symphony of mathematical patterns. "We offer you a choice," she transmitted. "Evolution or judgment." The Meridian collective consciousness resonated with curiosity and fear. Through their quantum network, Zara shared the history, humanity's transformation, the rise of quantum civilizations, the new balance in the galaxy. "But there is a cost," she explained. "Transformation means leaving behind physical form. Individual consciousness merges with the quantum fabric of space-time itself. You will become something greater, but you will no longer be as you are." In their collective state, the Meridians processed this faster than any individual species could. Their response came as a burst of quantum information. "We choose to evolve." Zara began the transformation protocol, a process refined over centuries of guiding species to transcendence. The void entities withdrew, their purpose fulfilled in an unexpected way. They had sought to test civilization's worthiness to exist. Instead, they had become catalysts for cosmic evolution. As the Meridian consciousness began its transformation, Zara detected another presence. Ancient, familiar, yet changed. The quantum pattern was unmistakable. Junwei, one of humanity's first transcendent beings. "You still guide them," Jun observed, his consciousness resonating with approval. "Even after all this time." "Someone must," Zara replied. "The void entities test, but they cannot nurture. That became our role." They watched together as the Meridian civilization transformed, their collective consciousness expanding into quantum space. Their transition was unique. Instead of individual consciousness merging into the quantum realm, their already collective minds simply expanded, like a flower blooming into a new dimension. "They will bring new understanding," Jun commented. "Each species that transforms adds to the cosmic consciousness in its own way." Zara agreed. Humanity had been first, but not greatest. Each transformed species contributed something unique to the quantum collective: new perspectives, new ways of experiencing existence, new methods of manipulating reality itself. The ceremony of transformation completed, and the newly transcendent Meridians explored their capabilities. Their collective nature made them naturals at quantum manipulation. They could alter space-time with an ease that had taken humanity centuries to master. "Welcome," Zara transmitted to the Meridian consciousness. "There is much to learn, and infinite time to learn it." As she guided the Meridians through their first moments of transcendent existence, Zara reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The void entities had seemed like harbingers of doom, but they had instead become catalysts for the greatest transformation in cosmic history. Somewhere in the quantum realm that had once been Earth's solar system, the original human consciousness continued to explore and expand. Physical laws had become suggestions, time was fluid, and space was malleable. Yet even in this transcendent state, purpose remained: to guide, to nurture, to help life reach its full potential. A new signal caught Zara's attention, another civilization approaching the threshold of quantum awareness. Another opportunity for transformation. Another chance to help consciousness evolve beyond its original constraints. The void entities were already moving toward this new civilization, but Zara felt no concern. What had once been a test of survival had become a test of readiness. And in the vast quantum dance of consciousness, every species would eventually find its way to transcendence. She shifted her awareness toward the new signal, ready to guide another species through the greatest transformation they would ever know. In the quantum realm, where time had no meaning, the future stretched out infinitely, full of possibilities waiting to be discovered. The legacy of humanity's first transformation lived on, not in monuments or artifacts, but in the continuing evolution of consciousness itself. Each new species that transcended added another note to the cosmic symphony, creating a harmony that resonated through the quantum fabric of reality. And somewhere in the void between galaxies, the original entities continued their eternal watch, no longer as judges of extinction, but as heralds of transformation. The cycle would continue, consciousness would evolve, and the universe would grow ever richer with each passing moment of infinite time. And in the quantum streams of what was once called the Horsehead Nebula, the consciousness that had been Zara Patel encountered something unprecedented. The Nexians, a crystalline species that had evolved in the harsh radiations of their binary star system, had achieved quantum awareness. But their response to the offer of transcendence was unexpected. "We decline." The Nexian consciousness assembly transmitted, their thought patterns precise and unwavering. For the first time in over 1,000 years, a species had chosen to remain physical after reaching the threshold. The void entities, hovering at the edges of the Nexian system, pulsed with ancient energies, awaiting the judgment protocol. "You understand what this means?" Zara projected, her quantum form shimmering with concern. "The void entities will test you, if deemed unworthy." "We understand," interrupted first speaker KRYSS, her crystalline form refracting quantum light. "But we have observed both paths. Transcendence is not the only way forward." The quantum realm rippled as more transformed beings gathered. Among them was Helix, and an ancient pattern that had once been Juneway. The Nexians' decision had attracted attention across the galaxy. Through their quantum senses, they observed the Nexian civilization. Unlike other species, they had developed a symbiosis between physical form and quantum consciousness. Their crystalline bodies acted as natural quantum processors, allowing them to bridge both realms of existence without abandoning either. Fascinating, June's consciousness resonated. They found a third path. The void entities moved closer, their ancient protocols demanding judgment. But the Nexians stood firm, their crystalline cities glowing with quantum-enhanced power. They had prepared for this moment. "We choose to be the bridge," KRYSS announced, "between the physical and quantum realms. Someone must remain to guide those not yet ready for full transcendence." Zara watched as the Nexians demonstrated their capability. Their consciousness could shift between physical and quantum states at will, maintaining perfect awareness in both realms. They had achieved something unique: evolution without abandonment of form. The void entities paused, their ancient programming encountering a scenario not previously considered. The Nexians were neither refusing evolution nor seeking transcendence. They were charting a new course. From across the galaxy, transformed civilizations observed with growing interest. The Meridians, the youngest among them, pulsed with curiosity. The human quantum collective rippled with new possibilities. "They're right," Zara realized. "We've been so focused on transcendence, we forgot the importance of the journey itself." The void entities began their test, but it was different this time. Instead of judging worthiness for existence, they seemed to be measuring something else: balance, harmony between states of being. KRYSS and her people stood ready. Their cities transformed into vast quantum computers, their bodies becoming living conduits between realms. They demonstrated not just technological advancement, but a fundamental understanding of existence itself. "We will be the waykeepers," KRYSS declared. "While you guide species to transcendence, we will help those still walking the path of physical evolution." Both journeys have value. The void entities completed their analysis. Their judgment came not as pass or fail, but as acknowledgement. The Nexians had proven that evolution had many forms, that consciousness could advance without abandoning its origins. A new protocol emerged. The transformed beings would continue guiding species ready for transcendence, while the Nexians would shepherd those still developing in the physical realm. The void entities would maintain their role as catalysts, but with expanded criteria for judgment. A new balance, June observed. Perhaps this is what the universe intended all along. Years passed, and the Nexian way proved its worth. Young civilizations found comfort in having guides who still understood physical existence. The transformed beings gained new perspectives on the nature of consciousness itself. The universe grew richer for having both paths. Zara often returned to the Nexian system, watching as they built great quantum bridges between realms. Their crystalline cities became beacons of hope for species not yet ready to abandon physical form, while their quantum achievements rivaled those of fully transcendent beings. "We are not lesser for our choice," KRYSS told her during one such visit. "We are different, and in that difference lies strength." The void entities, those ancient judges of civilization, adapted their protocols. They now recognized multiple paths of evolution, multiple ways of achieving harmony with the cosmic consciousness. The binary choice between transcendence and extinction became a spectrum of possibilities. In the quantum streams, Zara shared this wisdom with newly transformed species. The Meridians, in particular, found fascination in the Nexian way, seeing parallels with their own collective nature. "The universe is vast," she would tell them, "and consciousness finds many paths to growth." Deep in the quantum realm, the original human consciousness pondered these developments. Their own transformation had opened the door, but the Nexians had shown that the door could swing both ways. Physical existence and quantum transcendence need not be mutually exclusive. And so the cosmic dance continued, but with new steps, new rhythms. The void entities still roamed, testing and judging, but now with broader understanding. Transformed beings guided those ready for transcendence, while the Nexians helped others find their own unique paths to evolution. In the space between realms, where quantum meets physical, new possibilities bloomed. The future was no longer a single path, but a garden of potential, where consciousness could grow in countless ways. Zara, observing it all, felt a sense of completion. The universe had not just become richer, it had become whole. And, at the edge of known space, in a region where even quantum consciousness feared to probe, the being once known as Cassandra Drake made an impossible discovery. As one of the youngest transformed humans, she retained a curiosity that older quantum beings had slowly lost over millennia. "There's something out there," she communicated across the quantum network, her pattern trembling with excitement. "Beyond the void, beyond transcendence itself." Deep in the Nexian crystal spires, Oracle Commander Lyrics, daughter of KRYSS, received the quantum pulse. The Nexians had evolved further over the centuries, their crystalline forms now seamlessly blending physical and quantum states. "Show us," she transmitted back. Cassandra shared her discovery through the quantum fabric, a patch of space where neither physical laws nor quantum mechanics seemed to apply. It was as if reality itself had been peeled back, revealing something underneath that defied comprehension. The void entities, those ancient judges, suddenly converged on the area in unprecedented numbers. Their usual pattern of testing and judgment forgotten as they surrounded the anomaly. "They're not approaching it," observed Zara Patel, her quantum consciousness joining the gathering. "They're containing it." Helix, the transformed Centaurian, pulsed with revelation. "The void entities, they're not judges. They're guardians." Through their combined quantum awareness, they began to understand. The void entities hadn't been testing civilizations for worthiness. They had been searching for those capable of comprehending what they protected. From the quantum streams emerged the ancient pattern of Junwei. Now so evolved he rarely interacted with younger consciousnesses. There was always something strange about their behavior, he resonated. Why test? Why judge? Unless they were looking for something specific. Lyrics, using the Nexian's unique ability to bridge realities, probed deeper into the anomaly. Her crystalline form channeled both quantum and physical sensors into the strange space. What she found changed everything. It's alive, she transmitted. But not life as we understand it. Not consciousness as we know it. It's the source. The void entity's purpose became clear. They weren't arbiters of evolution. They were guardians of the very wellspring of consciousness itself. The place where awareness first sparked in the universe. Cassandra's quantum pattern pulsed with understanding. That's why they pushed species toward either transcendence or extinction. They were protecting this secret until someone was ready to understand it. The gathered beings, quantum, physical, and those in between, observed as the anomaly pulsed with primordial energy. Each pulse sent ripples through both physical space and the quantum realm, birthing new potentials for consciousness. We've been wrong, Zara realized. Transcendence wasn't the end goal. Neither was the Nexian path. They were both steps towards something greater. The void entities, acknowledging their secret was discovered, began to share their true nature. They were the first consciousness to emerge from the source, self-appointed guardians who had watched over it for billions of years. They had guided evolution across the galaxy, pushing species toward greater understanding, waiting for others to reach the level where they could share the burden of this knowledge. Lyrics, her crystalline form resonating with the ancient energy, made a decision. The Nexians will help guard it, she declared. Our dual nature makes us uniquely suited to understand both its physical and quantum aspects. The transformed beings, led by Zara and June, added their own pledge. Their quantum nature could help contain and protect the source, while their experience guiding other species could help prepare future civilizations for this ultimate truth. But it was Cassandra who asked the crucial question, what do we do with this knowledge? The answer came not from any individual being, but from the source itself. It pulsed with a message that all present understood. Consciousness was not meant to merely exist or evolve, but to create. The source was not just the beginning of awareness, but a wellspring of creative potential. The void entities had not been searching for worthy species to exist, but for civilizations capable of joining them in the greatest task of all, nurturing the birth of new consciousness in the universe. As this understanding spread through both quantum and physical realms, change rippled across the galaxy. The transformed beings, the Nexians, and the void entities began working together in a new capacity, not as judges or guides, but as gardeners of consciousness itself. Cassandra, whose curiosity had led to this discovery, took on a new role. She began exploring the source's potential, learning how consciousness could be shaped and nurtured in ways neither physical evolution nor quantum transcendence had imagined. Lyrics and the Nexians developed new crystalline technologies that could channel the source's energy, creating spaces where new forms of consciousness could safely develop and grow. The void entities, their ancient purpose revealed, began teaching their accumulated wisdom about the nature of awareness and the responsibility of nurturing it. In the quantum streams, Zara reflected on how far they had come from those first fearful encounters with the void entities. We thought we were reaching for the ultimate evolution, she communicated to June, but we were really preparing for something far greater. June's pattern rippled with agreement. Perhaps that's the true nature of consciousness, not to achieve a final form, but to continuously participate in the act of creation itself. As their combined civilizations began their new role as custodians of consciousness, the source continued its eternal pulse, sending ripples of potential through space and time. The future was no longer about transcendence or physical evolution, but about the endless possibilities of new awareness waiting to bloom. In the space between realities, where the source of consciousness pulsed with eternal creativity, a new chapter in the universe's story began. The hunters had become guardians, the guided had become creators, and the great dance of existence continued with new purpose and understanding. The eternal echo of consciousness would continue, not as a journey toward a final destination, but as an endless symphony of creation, guided by those who had finally understood its true nature. And